When I think of Christmas memories and traditions, I do remember certain specific items from my childhood that decorated our home. And while I remember those items, more often than not, I remember the overall feeling I got from not only the way we decorated, but the way we decorated together as a family, the activities we did, and the things that we made ourselves. Whether it's making your own ornaments, sewing your own tree skirt, or making something simple but beautiful out of items you already have. A homemade Christmas gives you both budget-friendly decor and memories to last a lifetime. Today I've teamed up with some other ladies to share a cottage Christmas inspiration, and I hope you'll join me as I share some ideas for making your own homemade cottage Christmas. Every year we go as a family and cut a tree from a Christmas tree farm. We bring it home and decorate it with our family's ornaments. But this is the first year that I had the opportunity to decorate a second tree in our family room, and I knew I wanted to make it natural, handmade ornaments, starting with some dried oranges. Dried orange slices are such a beautiful addition for ornaments, garlands, and even wrapping presents. And they're so easy to make. Just slice an orange very thinly, lay out the slices on a parchment-lined baking sheet in a single layer, and then bake them at your oven's lowest temperature, generally about 175 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 4 to 6 hours, flipping them over halfway through and checking them periodically. Don't worry if they're still slightly gummy when you take them out. They will continue to dry once they are hanging. I've always wanted the vintage charm of candles on a Christmas tree, but didn't want the fire hazard. I found these battery-operated candles and some vintage-style brass clips to go along with them, and they fit each other perfectly. However, these German-made metal candle holders were a little too shiny for my taste, so I decided to give them an antique finish with a little bit of rub and buff in European gold. All I did was brush a little of the rub and buff on each one and let it dry. Place the candle into the holder. And clip it onto my tree. It gives such a warm vintage glow and I love it. This tree was also going to need some sort of tree skirt, and I was not eager to run out and buy one, so I decided to try my hand at making my own. I started out by measuring the base of my tree and deciding what diameter my tree skirt should be. I dug around in my basement and found some vintage linen that I had purchased in a big box from our church's rummage sale. I had gotten the whole box for about $3, and it was an incredible find. I started by folding my linen in quarters and then finding the center point, I measured out the radius, which is half the diameter, from the center point down the edges and then in the shape of an arc, marking with pins as I went. If you prefer to draw it out with a pencil, you can do that, but I just used the pins as markers. And then using my pins as a guide, I cut the quarter circle from one side to another. I repeated the step, but this time for the center hole. This is the part that goes around the center trunk of your tree. Once unfolded, you have a nice circle. Next, I cut a slit up one side just to the center hole. This gives a way to wrap it around the tree. Being sure to iron everything as I went, I then traced this circle onto both a backing fabric and some leftover quilt batting that I had. The quilt batting gives it a nice weight so that it will lay nicely around the Christmas tree. I wanted to add some lace trim, so I pulled out this border from my childhood bed sheet that I had been saving for about 15 years for a project. It turned out to be just enough for this tree skirt. I laid everything out and sandwiched the lace between the backing and the linen front, with right sides facing. I pinned it all around the edges as I went, and then sewed everything with just a straight stitch. I left one end open for turning it right side out, and then folded the edges under and stitched it shut. I added some more lace trim to the edge. This was a stash left over from when my mom used to make doll dresses for me when I was little. I think it turned out very simply, but very nicely as well. If you would like the written instructions, you can find them over on my blog, which I have linked below. Creating a homemade Christmas does not need to be expensive or complicated. I encourage you to look around your own home and find a way to use the things you already have in a creative way. I feel that much of saving money is about patience. the patience to wait and find the right item at the thrift store, the patience to buy something on end of season clearance and wait until the following year to use it, or the patience to learn a new skill and to make something yourself. It also takes patience to come up with creative ways to use the items you already have. Don't let these videos fool you. Arranging items in my home takes days or even weeks until I am happy with the results. It also takes practice. For a simple Advent wreath, I took this ironstone wash basin that I already had, filled it with some blocks of floral foam, and then filled it with some branches of faux pine and pine cones that I already had on hand. I added in some plain white tapers for a simple, elegant look. You could certainly use traditional Advent candles if you wanted also. Homemade ornaments can be so simple, like these cinnamon stick crosses that only require 3 items to make. Just cinnamon sticks, twine, and a little bit of sewing thread. Just cross 2 cinnamon sticks over one another, or half of a cinnamon stick over a whole cinnamon stick. Wrap it with twine and secure, and then hang it by a loop of thread on your Christmas tree for a beautiful and rustic reminder of the true reason we're celebrating Christmas. I'm very grateful to have a Trader Joe's nearby, and they have the cutest bags this season. I knew I couldn't let that go to waste, so I decided to do something fun with them, which turned into a really easy and free DIY project. First, I roughly cut the houses out of the bags, and then glued them on to some thin cardboard boxes that I pulled from the recycling. I then cut them out in more detail and hot glued them on to a long length of twine to create a cute little garland that I can use all winter long. There are so many simple and inexpensive ways to add coziness to your cottage this Christmas season, like inexpensive wreaths hung by strips of a cut sheet and a few little sticky hooks on your kitchen cabinets. Like hanging your stockings from a blanket ladder when you don't have a fireplace. Or some lovely thrifted teacups filled with sugar or sand to hold candle stumps topped with moss or faux greenery. Always be sure to monitor your candles if you choose to burn them, and never let them burn all the way down. I hope you found some ideas and inspiration for your own homemade cottage Christmas this season. Be sure to stay tuned for next time, as I'll be sharing some exterior cottage Christmas decor, as well as making a cozy winter meal. You can find my list of friends below who are also sharing their cottage Christmas videos today. Be sure to check them out. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe for more cottage living, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.